Hey guys, this is Laura from Purl Soho, and I'm going to show you how to work magic loop. Magic loop is a technique for working in the round, and although it has worked on pretty long circular needles, it is especially great for smaller circumferences, and I'm going to show you why. Because of this, it's a great alternative for those of you who just do not like double points. All right. So as you can see here, I have a few stitches cast onto this 40-inch circular needle. You could use a 32-inch, you could use a 60-inch, it's kind of up to you. It has a little bit to do with how big your circumference of your final object is. I find that 40 inches often right in the sweet spot. So let's get our needles oriented for this technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these cast on stitches and I'm going to push them towards the center of my cord between my two needles. All right, now that they're somewhat at the center of my cord, the next thing I'm going to do is take my cord and fold it in half. When I fold it in half, I'm going to push this end towards my left, and I want to make sure my working yarn is coming off the back, is away from me. The other thing I want to make sure to check for is that no stitches are twisted. We always want to check that before joining in the round. And now that we've done all of those checks, I'm ready for my next step. What I want to do is divide these 30 stitches in half. And so that's 15. So 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. 15. So I'm going to grab the cord right here in the middle of my stitches, and I'm going to hold on to my stitches with my right hand, and with my left hand I'm going to just pull this cord. Pull it, pull it, pull it. You're going to pull the cord until your stitches wind up on your needles. You might have to push a little too. Push and pull. There we go. So now I have half of my stitches on my back needle, half of my stitches on my front needle. They're not twisted, and my working yarn is coming off of the back needle. Next step is, with my right hand, I'm going to grab the tip of this back needle, and I'm going to pull it towards the right. Now I'm pulling it towards the right because I want to create enough slack in my cord here that I can turn the direction of my needle around and work across these stitches on the front needle. So I have enough slack at this point. I'm going to just hold all of my stitches right here in this hand. I'm going to use the tip of my right needle and knit into the first stitch on my front needle. I have my working yarn coming from the back. There we go. I want to actually be under that working yarn. There we go. And now I'm going to just knit across the stitches on the front needle. We've joined in the round now that we've knit that first stitch, and now I'm going to just continue to the end of the needle. All right, I have worked across that first half of the stitches, and now it's time to reorient my needles. So what I want to do at this point is I'm going to pull the cord from the back set of stitches. I'm going to pull this cord until these back stitches are on the needle. I'm going to turn my work. So once again, the tips of my needles are pointed towards the right. And here we are. It looks really similar to just a couple steps ago. I have my two needles are parallel again. And once again, I'm going to use my right hand to pull the back needle out, create slack, turn my needle around, and then I'm ready to work across the second half of my stitches. All right, so I just worked across the second half of my stitches. Once again, I'm going to pull the cord on the back half of the cord until both my sets of stitches are on needles. I've officially finished my first round. I joined in the round. I'm ready to continue my work. You kind of just keep following these steps of getting your stitches oriented on the two needles, pulling the back needle, creating slack, working across half the stitches. And you can do notice here, I didn't place a stitch marker, but I do have my tail here. When I have my tail on the right side, I know that I'm at the beginning of my round. I have a small swatch here I knit up using magic loop. I just wanted to demonstrate one last thing about magic loop and when you are binding off. So I'm going to bind off using a basic bind off. Just across this first half of the stitches, and then just show you one little trick. Okay, now as I near the end of this first half of my stitches and I bind off the second to last stitch, you can see I'm left with one loop left on my needle. So what I just wanted to point out really quickly was that in order to bind off across the second set of the stitches, you know, as I normally would with magic loop, I'm going to get these back stitches on this needle. Just want to, when I turn my work so that my needles are pointing this way, this back needle, you don't really need to pull the slack. You're kind of already ready to just continue binding off. So now I'm just going to continue on and bind off the rest of this magic loop swatch.